The stars were silent, but the galaxy was not. In the halls of the Galactic Council, laughter echoed again and again. Dozens of alien delegates leaned back in their crystal chairs, their voices full of mockery. Their eyes glowed with arrogance as they looked at a single holomage floating in the center of the chamber. The image was simple: a warship, human-made, dark gray, sharp edges, built not for beauty, but for purpose. That. One delegate scoffed, his scaled jaw shaking with laughter. That thing is what Earth dares to call a warship. Another voice, sharp and cruel, joined. A toy, a floating piece of metal. They think they can challenge our fleets with that? Chamber roared. Mockery, laughter, insult, it filled the air like poisonous smoke. Humanity was new to the council, young and inexperienced. Most of the species sitting here had traveled the stars for 10,000 years, but humans, barely 100 years since, they broke their own atmosphere. To the council, they were nothing more than children playing soldier. Only one voice did not laugh. A thin alien with translucent skin leaned forward and whispered, "Do not mock them too much. I have studied their history. Humans. They have a way of turning weakness into strength," but no one listened. The laughter continued. Far from the council, hidden in the black sea of space, the warship waited. Its name was Vanguard. Humanity's first true battleship, built in silence, tested in secret. It had no golden wings, no glowing shields, no elegant designs like alien ships. Instead, it was thick armor, hidden weapons, and an energy core that pulsed like a beating heart. The crew, inside, was small, barely 1,000 men and women, but their faces carried the weight of something heavier than any weapon. They knew the truth. This was not just a ship. It was Earth's answer. Captain Reeves stood on the command deck, his hands behind his back, staring out at the endless stars. His voice was calm, but his eyes carried fire. "They think we are weak," he said. "They think this ship is a joke. Let them think it. When the time comes, the galaxy will see what Earth has prepared." Around him, the crew nodded. Engineers, pilots, soldiers, they were not the strongest or the oldest. But they carried something the council had forgotten long ago. Humanity's greatest weapon was never technology. It was will. The galaxy did not have to wait long. One of the strongest empires, the Zoran Dominion, had grown bored of mocking. They wanted proof. Their vast fleets, shining cruisers, endless carriers, weapons powered by stars, they decided to test Earth's toy ship. It was supposed to be simple, a show of strength, a warning. The message arrived on the Vanguard, cold, ruthless, human vessel. "You are trespassing in council space. You are ordered to surrender and disarm. Resistance will mean your destruction." The crew waited for Captain Reeves' reply. His face was calm, almost too calm. "Transmit my answer," he said. His voice carried steel. "Earth does not kneel." That was the moment the galaxy changed. The Dominion fleet arrived, hundreds of ships, each larger than a city. Their lights burned across the stars, their weapons ready to erase the human ship in one volley. To the galaxy, this battle was entertainment. The council watched in silence, expecting a quick and easy end. But something was wrong. The moment the first Dominion cruiser fired, the Vanguard moved. It's not slow, not clumsy like the council expected. It moved like a predator, silent and precise. Its armor absorbed the blast. Then, in an instant, hidden ports opened. Weapons that no alien had ever seen came alive. Rail cannons screamed. Energy beams cut through shields like paper. Missiles danced through enemy fire, striking with impossible accuracy in less than a minute. The first Dominion cruiser exploded. Then another. And another. The laughter in the council chamber died. No one spoke. No one laughed. Their eyes widened as the impossible unfolded before them. A single human ship was tearing through an entire fleet. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Captain Reeve whispered only one word: "Begin." The galaxy had mocked Earth. Now Earth was answering, and the answer was only beginning. The stars burned with the light of exploding ships. The Dominion fleet, proud and endless, was breaking apart. Flames and debris drifted in silence as the vanguard cut through them like a knife through glass. On the bridge, the crew moved with calm focus. No panic, no chaos, just precision. Captain Reeves's eyes never left the screen, his voice steady. Target the carriers. Cut off their fighters before they launch. Yes, Captain. Rail cannons roared again. Each shot carried the force of Earth's greatest engineering. The first carrier exploded, its wings tearing apart in bright fire. Then another. The enemy fighters never had a chance to leave their hangars. Across the galaxy, the Council watched. Their grand chamber, once full of laughter, was silent now. Delegates leaned forward, their alien eyes wide with disbelief. The impossible was unfolding before them. That ship. It should not exist, whispered one elder being, his voice trembling. How? How can humans create such power in so little time? But no one answered. No one had words. On the battlefield, the Dominion's commander shouted into his comms. His 4 eyes blazed with fury. Crush them. They're only one ship. The order was obeyed. Dozens of Dominion cruisers formed a wall, their weapons releasing a storm of fire. Bright beams, missiles, plasma shells rained down on the lone human vessel. The vanguard did not fall. Its shields shimmered, bending under the storm but never breaking. Deep inside, its core pulsed stronger, drawing power from a design no alien had ever imagined. Return fire, Reeve ordered. The crew unleashed their hidden arsenal. A storm of weapons answered the storm. Beams sliced through cruisers, missiles punched holes in shields. The battlefield became chaos. One Dominion officer screamed as his cruisers split apart. Another watched in horror as his entire squadron vanished. In light, the human ship was not fighting to survive. It was hunting. But even as the Dominion fell, Captain Reeve knew the truth. This was only the beginning. Status report, he asked. Shields at 70%. Weapons at full, hull intact. Reeve gave a small nod. His eyes, however, carried no joy. They will send more. This is not over.
Right.
Far across the stars, the council chamber exploded with voices. This is madness. One delegate shouted, a single ship cannot destroy a Dominion armada. Another replied, his tone sharp with fear. The humans are hiding something, whispered a third. Technology they should not have. We must act before they rise. But not all voices agreed. One alien, silent until now, leaned forward.
Nice.
Face was calm, but his eyes burned with respect. No, he said softly. Do you not see it? This is not just technology. This is humanity itself. Their history, their wars, their will to survive. We thought them children. But look, those children now stand against empires. The chamber fell quiet again. For the first time in centuries, fear touched the mighty council. Back on the battlefield, the last Dominion ship tried to flee. Engines roared as it turned away, desperate to escape the nightmare. But the vanguard would not allow it. Lock weapons, Reeve ordered. The final blast struck true. The Dominion flagship burst apart, scattering fire into the void. The battle was over. The crew sat in silence, their breaths heavy. They had won. Against impossible odds, against overwhelming power, they had won. But Captain Reeve did not smile. His gaze was fixed on the stars ahead, his voice quiet. They will not forget this. The Council, the Empires, the Dominion, they will come. This ship is only the beginning. Earth must be ready. His words hung in the air like a shadow. In the darkness of space, far from human eyes, signals traveled. The Council was already moving. Fleets were being prepared. Secrets whispered across galaxies. Humanity had shown its teeth, and now the galaxy was deciding how to answer. But the humans had already made their choice. They would not kneel. They would not beg. The vanguard was not their last weapon. It was their first. And soon, the galaxy would learn what it meant to mock Earth. The wreckage of the Dominion fleet floated in silence, glowing with fading fire. For the crew of the vanguard, victory was real. But celebration never came. They knew what this meant. One battle won, 1,000 more to come. On the bridge, Captain Reeves stood with arms crossed, watching the stars. His voice was calm but sharp. Transmit the report to Earth. They must know what happened, and they must prepare. A young officer hesitated.
Captain?
Do you think Earth understands what this battle means? Reeves' eyes hardened. They will understand soon enough. The Council will never forgive this. Humanity has entered the game and there is no turning back. Far away, on the shining world of the Galactic Council, chaos spread like fire. The chamber that once mocked humans now echoed with anger and fear. Delegates shouted across the hall. Their voices clashing, the humans are a threat. Did you see what one ship did? They must be destroyed before they rise further. Impossible. They are only one world. They cannot fight the Council. But others remembered history. They remembered how humans had risen again and again on their small blue planet. They remembered wars that nearly ended their species but never broke them. And in the silence between shouts, unease grew. The Dominion's pride was shattered. Their fleets had been humiliated by a single vessel. Their leaders swore vengeance. They began gathering armadas not seen in centuries. This time, it would not be a test. It would be war. Back on Earth, the message from the Vanguard arrived. Leaders gathered in a secret chamber under the Capitol, their faces pale as the hollow images played the Council's fleet burning. Dominion ships falling, the human warships standing victorious. The room was silent when the images ended. No one spoke for a long moment, then one general leaned forward. This changes everything. They will come for us. Not tomorrow, not next year, but soon. An old scientist, gray-haired and tired, whispered, "And when they come, what will stop them? We have one ship. One." But another voice, strong and defiant, cut through the fear. "Then we build more. We build fleets. We build weapons. We build until the galaxy understands Earth bows to no one." The Council's spies were already listening. They heard Earth's decision. They sent their own messages back to the stars. On the Vanguard, silence filled the mess hall as the crew ate. They were heroes now, though no songs had been written. But their faces were not filled with pride. They knew what awaited them. One soldier, young and scarred, finally broke the silence. "We won. But why does it feel like we only lit the fire that will burn us?" His comrade answered softly. "Because we did. But better to burn free than to kneel." Captain Reeve entered and the crew stood. His gaze swept across them, not as soldiers but as people. "I will not lie to you," he said. "The galaxy will come for us. They will send fleets greater than anything we have ever faced. But understand this, we are not fighting for victory alone. We are fighting to show them who we are, that humanity will never break. That is our weapon, stronger than any cannon." His words struck deep. The crew's fear did not vanish, but it changed. Fear became resolved. Then alarms screamed. The crew rushed back to stations. Reeves strode to the command deck, his eyes narrowing as new. Signals appeared. "Report. Multiple ships detected, Captain. Not Dominion. Unknown signature. There, watching us." The stars outside shimmered as dark vessels appeared, preservers cloaked ships from other Council species. They had come not to fight, but to study. Reeves' jaw tightened. "So, the Council watches us like an animal in a cage." A voice crackled through the coms, cold, mocking. "Human vessel. We are here to remind you, your victory was an accident. Do not think you can stand against the galaxy." The crew held their breath. Everyone waited for the captain's reply. Reeve leaned forward, his voice sharp as steel. "Tell your Council this. Earth does not fear the galaxy. It is the galaxy that should begin to fear Earth." The message was sent. The watchers vanished into the black, but Reeve knew what this meant. His words would not just echo. They would ignite in the halls of the Council. When the message arrived, silence fell again. No one laughed this time. For the first time, they realized something dangerous. The humans were not asking for respect. They were demanding it, and soon. The galaxy would decide bow to Earth's fire, or try to put it out. The Vanguard drifted in silence, its dark hull glowing faintly with battle scars. Around it, the stars seemed calm, but everyone on board knew calm was a lie. The Dominion had been defeated. Yes, but defeat never ended empires. It only fueled them. Captain Reeves stood alone in the observation deck. His reflection stared back. At him in the glass eyes, sharp face hard, but beneath it all, a man carrying the weight of an entire world. The door slid open, and his first officer, Commander Hale, stepped inside. Captain Hale said quietly, "Earth Command is calling. For you. They want to know what happens next." Reeve did not move. His eyes stayed on the stars. "What happens next," he said slowly, "is war. The question is whether Earth is ready for it." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Dominion burned with fury. In the throne chamber of their capital, the Dominion overlord sat high upon a black chair, carved from stone, older than most species. His 4 eyes glowed with hate as he listened to the reports. An entire fleet gone? His voice was low, dangerous. Double quotes, yes. Overlord, the Admiral bowed, trembling. Destroyed by one ship. A human warship. The chamber filled with whispers, fear hidden under layers of pride. The Overlord rose, his long shadow stretching across the chamber. "Then we will not send one fleet. We will send everything. Earth will be erased." Orders spread like wildfire. Factories roared to life, armies marched. Fleets were pulled from borders, from colonies, from every corner of the Dominion. Humanity had drawn blood, and now vengeance was coming. But not all in the galaxy wanted war. In a hidden chamber deep within the Council world, a secret meeting was held. Delegates from smaller species, those long crushed under Dominion power, gathered in whispers. "You saw the humans," one said, his voice trembling. "One ship destroyed their fleet. If Earth rises, maybe the Dominion will finally fall. If we support them, the Council will call us traitors." Silence followed. Then, slowly, another voice answered, firm and steady. "Maybe it is time the galaxy remembered fear. The humans may be the weapon we have been waiting for. Not everyone mocked Earth anymore. Some began to hope." Back on Earth, the message from the Council watchers replayed again and again in the war room. Leaders studied it carefully, the mocking voice, the warning, the cold promise that the galaxy was watching. One general slammed his hand against the table. "They are testing us, measuring us. They want to see if humanity is a spark or a flame." President Amina Clark, calm and unshaken, answered, "Then we must show them we are fire." She turned to the scientists, the engineers, the commanders. "You will build more ships. Not one, not 10. A fleet. The Vanguard will not stand alone." The room filled with a single echo. "Yes, Madam President." Factories across Earth lit up with energy. Colonies on Mars, on the moons, even in the asteroid belt Sol became forges of war. Humanity began to build faster than ever before. On the Vanguard, the crew trained without rest. Every corridor echoed with drills. Every system pushed to its limits. Soldiers practiced until their hands bled. Engineers tested until sparks filled. The air pilots trained until they could fly blind. One night, in the mess hall, a young ensign asked quietly, "Captain, do you really think we can face the whole galaxy?" Reeve looked at him for a long time before answering. His voice was not soft, not hard, but something in between. "I don't think I know. Because we are not just fighting with weapons. We are fighting with something no Council fleet has. The will to never kneel. And that is stronger than any armada." The words spread through the crew like fire in dry grass. Fear was still there. Yes, but it was no longer heavy. It had become fuel. Then sensors flared. Commander Hale rushed to the captain. "Out!" Multiple signatures, closing fast. Reeve turned. To the screen, there they were. Dominion scouts, dozens of them, circling like wolves. They had found the Vanguard. The crew prepared for battle, weapons charging, shields rising. But before they could fire, a strange signal cut across space. The Dominion ships halted. Then, one by one, they turned away and vanished into hyperspace. Confusion filled the bridge. Why did they retreat? Hale asked, frowning. Reeves' eyes narrowed. He understood. Because they are not scouts. They are messengers. The Dominion is not hunting us with scraps. They are bringing something bigger. The crew fell silent. Everyone felt the same chill. The first battle had been survival. The second battle had been victory. But what was coming now would be war, and the Vanguard would be the first to face it. The Dominion scouts had left, but their silence was more dangerous than any weapon. On the Vanguard, the crew knew what it meant. The enemy was gathering. Somewhere in the dark corners of space, an armada was forming a storm meant to erase. Earth, Captain Reeves stood over the star map, the faint light of glowing systems shining across his face. His officers waited for his words, but for a moment, he said nothing. Then, quietly, he spoke. They are not running. They are preparing. We must move before their storm arrives. Commander Hale frowned. But move where, Captain? Earth wants us back to guard home. If we leave, the Dominion may strike them directly. Reeves' eyes stayed on the stars. If we stay, the Dominion will gather strength unchecked. They'll come with fire large enough to burn entire worlds. No, our task is not only to defend. Our task is to show them humanity is not prey. We must strike first. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. A single ship against a rising empire. It sounded like madness. But no one on the Vanguard doubted their captain. Meanwhile, deep within the Dominion, their armada was indeed rising. Shipyards worked without pause, forging cruisers, dreadnoughts, carriers. Whole planets were emptied of soldiers, pressed into war. In the Overlord's hall, thousands of commanders knelt as he raised his clawed hand. This is no longer war. He declared this is extinction. Earth will be erased from the stars, and their memory will be dust. His words spread across the Dominion like thunder. Billions cheered. But some did not. Far from the Overlord's throne, in quiet corners, whispers began. Not every Dominion officer believed victory was certain. They had seen the recordings of the battle. They had seen the Vanguard. And in their hearts, a seed of fear had taken root. Back in the council chamber, debate raged again. The Dominion prepares war. We cannot allow humanity to spread, shouted one delegate. But if the Dominion wins, another hissed. They will become too strong. They will crush us next. Do we help the humans, or destroy them ourselves? The chamber split in two. Old alliances cracked. The galaxy, which had once laughed in unity, was now trembling with division. On Earth, the factories roared day and night. Steel and fire became warships, though they were not yet ready. Engineers worked until their hands shook, soldiers trained until they collapsed. Humanity was racing against time, but the Dominion's shadow grew faster. In the war room, President Clark listened to Reeves' report. "Madam President," he said, his voice steady but sharp. "If we wait, they will come with fire too great. For us to stop, give us leave to strike them first, not to win, but to show them Earth will not wait to die." She studied him through the hollow screen, silence stretched, heavy and long. Then she nodded once. "Go, Captain. Make them remember. Us." The Vanguard set course. Its engines glowed as it cut through the void, heading not for Earth, but for the Dominion itself. The crew braced for what was coming. Each of them knew it might be their last journey, but none turned away. Days later, alarms filled the ship. "Captain, massive energy signature ahead. Dominion fleet detected. Size unknown." The screen lit up with fire. Dozens of ships. Hundreds. More than the Vanguard had ever faced. The enemy stretched across the stars like a wall of death. The crew stared in silence. For the first time, even veterans felt fear grip their hearts. One soldier whispered, "This is no battle. This is the end." But Captain Reeves' voice cut through the fear like a blade. "No, this is the beginning. Ready weapons. Target their command ship. We fall as a storm." The Vanguard surged forward, its weapons lit the dark, tearing through the first line of cruisers. Explosions filled the void. For a moment, it looked as if history would repeat the impossible victory. The lone ship standing against an empire, but the Dominion had learned. This time, their shields were stronger, their formations tighter, their weapons heavier. The vanguard shook under the storm, alarms screamed. Sparks rained from the ceiling as shields buckled. Shields at 40%. Engines taking hits, forward rail cannon offline. The crew fought without pause, firing everything, every missile, every beam. Enemy ships fell, one after another, but more replaced them. For every Dominion cruiser destroyed, 10 more closed in. The vanguard was not losing. It was drowning on the bridge. Reeve gripped the console. His eyes burned, his voice steady. Divert all power to the main cannon. Target their flagship. If they want extinction, we will give them fire they will never forget. The core of the vanguard glowed brighter than ever before. Energy built until the ship shook, until the crew thought it would tear itself apart. Then, the scream of power, the cannon fired. A beam of light cut across the void, striking the Dominion flagship. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the ship exploded in a sun of fire, tearing half the enemy formation apart. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but they died quickly. The Dominion Armada still lived. It was still coming. The crew stared at the endless wave of ships, their faces pale, their breaths short. Captain Reeve whispered, almost to himself, "We showed them. Now we see if Earth can rise before we fall." The battle was not over. It had only begun. The Dominion Armada filled the stars like an endless storm. Even after their flagship had been destroyed, their ships pressed forward, furious and unbroken. The vanguard stood in their path, bloodied but still alive. Alarms screamed through the corridors. The ship trembled as blasts tore across its armor. Sparks rained from broken panels, smoke filled the air, and yet the crew did not falter. Shields at 20%. Engines critical. "We cannot take much more, Captain." But Captain Reeve did not move from his post. His eyes stayed on the screen, cold and sharp. "We are not done. Not yet. Target their carriers. Cut their wings." Weapons roared again. The vanguard struck hard, destroying another Dominion carrier in a burst of fire. Fighters that had been preparing to launch were burned in their hangars. For a moment, the enemy wavered. But only for a moment. The Dominion adapted. Their cruisers circled tighter, their dreadnoughts advanced, and their fire came heavier than before. The vanguard shook violently, metal groaning as if the ship itself cried out in the mess hall, converted now into a triage center. Medics rushed between the wounded. Soldiers who had survived boarding drills now lay on stretchers, blood soaking their uniforms. One whispered to a nurse, "Don't let us fail. Don't let Earth fall." Back on the bridge, Commander Hale leaned close to Reeve. "Captain, we cannot win this fight. There are too many." Reeve's jaw tightened. He knew Hale was right. One ship could not defeat an empire's wrath. But surrender was not in him. "We will not win," Reeve admitted. "But we will make them bleed." Meanwhile, light years away, the council chamber erupted again as news of the battle reached them. The humans are fighting the Dominion's full armada. Impossible. They are mad. They will be erased. But some voices trembled, not with scorn, but awe. "Do you not see? Even in the face of death, they do not kneel. That is what makes them dangerous." On Earth, the reports arrived late. Vanguard was still transmitting data even as it fought. Engineers and generals studied every second. They saw the Dominion's tactics, their formations, their weaknesses. President Clark watched in silence. Round her, the War Council argued, "They cannot last. We must pull them back." "No," Clark said finally, her voice steady. They knew what this meant when they went. The vanguard is not only fighting, it is teaching. Every shot they fire is a lesson. Every minute they survive is time for us to prepare. Her words cut through the panic. Everyone understood. Vanguard was more than a ship. It was a signal, a warning, a shield. Back in the battle, the Dominion pushed harder, Captain. Hale shouted. They're surrounding us. Reeves' eyes narrowed. Then we break the circle. Prepare the core for overload. The crew froze. Everyone knew what that meant. The core was the heart of the ship. To overload it was to unleash. Fire strong enough to tear a fleet apart, but it would also destroy the vanguard. One ensign whispered, his voice trembling, "Captain, if we do this, we die." Reeves' gaze swept across his crew. His face is pale, wounded, afraid, but no one turned away. He gave a single nod. "If we fall, then we fall as a storm. Earth will not be remembered as prey. It will be remembered as fire." The order was given. Deep inside the ship, the core began to pulse brighter, louder, shaking the hull with raw power. Alarms blared, systems groaned, and the crew prepared for their final act. But then something unexpected happened. Sensors lit up. New signatures appeared, not Dominion, not human, unknown. Dozens of ships burst from hyperspace, firing directly into the Dominion flank. Their weapons were strange, their shields unfamiliar. For a moment, both the Vanguard and the Dominion froze in shock. The newcomers fought with precision. Striking at weak points the Vanguard had already exposed. Dominion ships fell in flames. The balance shifted. Commander Hale gasped. "Who are they, allies?" Reeves' eyes narrowed, studying the newcomers. Their designs were old, their markings strange. Then, through the static, a message broke through. "Human vessel, this is the Free Accord. We have seen your fight, we have seen your fire." We come, not as masters, but as allies. Together, we burn the Dominion. The crew erupted with shouts, relief, hope. Fire. Reeve allowed himself a single rare smile. "Then let's burn them together." The overloaded core was stabilized, weapons recharged, and the battle changed. No longer one ship against an empire, but humanity standing with unexpected allies, the Dominion. For the first time in centuries, began to retreat. Their storm had been met by fire, and that fire was spreading. But deep in his heart, Reeve knew this was only the first spark. The Dominion would return. The Council would not stay silent. And Earth, whether ready or not, had just been pulled into the heart of galactic war. The battle that should have been the end became something else. The Dominion Armada, vast and unstoppable, was forced to retreat. The Vanguard floated, bloodied but alive. And beside it were ships no one had expected. The Free Accord. For centuries, these species had hidden in the shadows, crushed under Dominion. Rule, scattered and silent. But now they revealed themselves, answering the fire humanity had lit. On the bridge of the Vanguard, the crew stared at the unfamiliar vessels. Some were sleek, others worn and patched, but all fought with a ferocity that matched their own. Commander Hale turned to Captain Reeve. "Captain, they saved us. But why? Why now?" Reeves' eyes stayed on the screen, watching the strangers fight. "Because sometimes it takes only one flame to show others the darkness can be burned away." Last Dominion ships jumped to hyperspace, leaving silence behind. Across the battlefield, wreckage drifted, broken cruisers, shattered dreadnoughts, bodies lost to the void. Humanity had survived. Not alone, but with new allies. A transmission came through. The face of an alien appeared on the screen, scarred and weary, yet his eyes burned with the same fire Reeve carried. "I am Corin, commander of the Free Accord fleet. For generations, we were slaves to the Dominion. We could not rise. But then we saw you humans stand against them alone. You reminded us of who we once were." Reeve nodded slowly. "And now," Corin's voice was sharp as iron, "now we fight with you, not because we serve Earth, but because Earth showed us how to stand." The crew exchanged glances. For the first time, humanity was not alone in the galaxy, but hope was always followed by danger, far across the stars. In the council chamber, fury exploded. This cannot be allowed. One delegate roared, "The humans are spreading rebellion. Unite the weak against us." Another hissed, "First the Dominion bleeds. Now the council itself trembles. If Earth is not destroyed now, they will become more than a threat. They will become a leader." The chamber divided again. Some demanded Earth's destruction. Others whispered of secret support, of hope that maybe humanity could break the chains the council had wrapped around them for millennia. In the Dominion throne world, the overlord's rage was unending. He struck down his own generals in fury. His voice carried through every Dominion channel. No more games. No more fleets in pieces. We will unleash the Armageddon fleet. If the galaxy will not kneel, then it will burn. The Armageddon fleet. A force whispered in terror, never seen. In full for centuries, entire worlds forged into ships, weapons powered by stolen suns. It was not an army. It was annihilation. On Earth, reports reached President Clark. She listened in silence as her generals explained the threat. "This fleet is not like the others." One said grimly, "If it reaches Earth, there will be nothing left." The room fell quiet. All eyes turned to her. She did not flinch. "Then we will not wait for them. If Earth is to survive, we must carry the fire to their heart." The decision was made. Earth, the Free Accord, and the Vanguard would go on the offensive. They would strike before the Armageddon. Fleet reached them. On the Vanguard, the crew prepared once more. They were tired, wounded, carrying scars of battles already fought. But when Captain Reeves stood before them, no one turned away. "You know what waits for us?" he said. "A fleet greater than any in history. We face them head on, we die. But we are not here only to fight. We are here to show the galaxy that Earth will never kneel, no matter the cost." His voice carried through the ship. Quiet answer. Followed hundreds of voices, steady and strong. "We fight." Engines roared. The Vanguard, joined by its new allies, set a course straight toward the Dominion's core. The plan was madness, but madness was the only hope left. As the ships cut through the stars, whispers spread across the galaxy. The humans were not hiding. They were marching into the heart of their enemy, carrying fire with them. And for the first time in ages, the galaxy was not laughing. It was waiting, watching. The final war was coming. The stars burned brighter than ever. Across the void, the Dominion's Armageddon fleet revealed itself. It was not a fleet, it was a wall. Thousands of ships, titans forged from entire worlds, dreadnoughts the size of cities, weapons glowing with the stolen fire of stars. Even the bravest crew on the Vanguard felt their breath catch. Against such power, even hope seemed small. Commander Hale whispered by every god in the sky. "How can anyone fight this?" Captain Reeves stood tall, his eyes fixed on the impossible sight. His voice was calm, iron steady. "By reminding them who we are. We are human, and we do not bow." Inside the Vanguard, the Free Accord fleet formed ranks. Their ships were smaller, fewer, but their captains carried fire in their eyes. Across every channel, voices rang out. Talion, human, united. For the first time in history, the weak did not kneel. They stood together, the Dominion overlords. Voice thundered across coms, cruel and certain. "You are insects standing against fire. You will be erased," Reeve answered with no hesitation. "We are fire." The battle began. The Armageddon fleet unleashed its fury. Beams brighter than suns, missiles that split space itself, dreadnought cannons that shook planets far away. Vanguard dove into the storm, its weapons roaring back. Every rail shot split cruisers. Every missile tore holes in formations. The Free Accord fought beside them, striking fast, vanishing, reappearing, burning through Dominion lines. But the enemy was endless. For every ship destroyed, more pressed forward. The void became a sea of flame. On the bridge of the Vanguard, alarms screamed, shields collapsing, engines overheating. Can't take another direct hit. Still the crew fought. Bloodied, burned, but unbroken. In the heart of the Dominion fleet, the Overlord watched with fury. For the first time he saw hesitation among his commanders. The humans had lasted longer than any enemy before. They refused to die quietly, Reeve. Knew they could not destroy the Armageddon fleet by strength alone. He turned to Commander Hale. "Are the charges ready?" Hale nodded grimly. "Yes, Captain, but if we use them, there's no turning back." Reeve's eyes burned. There was never any turning back. Deep within the Dominion's armada lay their heart, colossal supply carriers, energy cores, feeding the dreadnoughts, the veins of the beast. The Vanguard carried something built for this moment, experimental warheads. Forged on Earth, designed not to wound but to shatter. The plan was madness. Break through the wall, strike the cores, lead the fleet apart from within. Helm, Reeve. Commanded, set course straight into their heart. All power to engines. The ship lunged forward, diving through fire, weaving past giants. Enemy ships swarmed to block them, but the Free Accord threw themselves into the path, sacrificing. "Ships to clear the way? Go." Corrin's voice roared through comms. "Finish it. Burn them for all of us." The Vanguard broke through. Ahead loomed, the carriers massive, glowing, the lifeblood of the Dominion's fleet. "Arm charges," Reeve ordered. His voice was steady, though every soul on board knew what it meant. This was not a mission of survival. It was a mission of ending. The Dominion ships swarmed closer. Too many, too fast. The Vanguard was struck again and again. Fires erupted, systems died. Yet still, it pushed forward. On the bridge, smoke filled the air. Crew coughed, some collapsed, but their hands never left their stations. "Distance?" Reeve shouted. 500 kilometers. Charges ready." The ship shook as another blast tore through its side. Metal screamed. Lights flickered. 200 kilometers. Reeve gripped the console, his voice rising above the chaos. "All hands, this is our moment. Today the galaxy will know Earth does not kneel." The Vanguard plunged into the core of the Dominion fleet. Warheads armed. Engines burning. Every gun firing until nothing remained. The charges detonated. A sun was born in the void. Explosion ripped through the carriers, igniting chain reactions across the Dominion armada. Titans split apart. Dreadnoughts shattered. Fire consumed the stars. The shockwave hurled the Vanguard into silence. Systems went dark. The ship floated broken, scarred beyond repair. But the Dominion's Armageddon fleet was no more. Across the battlefield, silence spread. Then, one by one, voices rose. The Free Accord, battered and bleeding, cried out in victory. They did it. The humans destroyed them. The Dominion burns. On the bridge of the ruined Vanguard, Captain Reeve sat among smoke and fire. His body ached. Blood ran down his face, but his eyes were steady. Commander Hale, coughing, asked, "Captain, did we win?" Reeve looked out at the wreckage of the Dominion fleet. His voice was quiet, but every word carried the weight of history. "We showed them. That is enough." Across the galaxy, the council chamber sat in stunned silence. No one laughed now. The humans, mocked as children, had destroyed what no empire dared face. The galaxy was no longer the same. For the first time, fear did not belong. To Earth, it belonged to everyone else. The message was clear. Mock humanity, and they will rise. Threaten humanity, and they will fight. Try to erase humanity. They will burn your fleets to ash.